Hello everyone, thanks for visiting my channel. Multiple intelligence sources confirmed that the Ukrainian airplane that crashed near on PS-752 was indeed shot down by Iranian missiles or Iranian forces. The two missiles that are being sort of mentioned are Russian-made missiles. Um, Most of the commentary from Justin Trudeau and even the Australian Prime Minister and the American administration is stating that the Iranian uh, missile that missiles that hit the plane were unintentional or seemed to be unintentional, um, although the plane was uh, turning back apparently from the sources. Now, they want to open a thorough investigation. So Justin Trudeau has mentioned he wants a thorough investigation into, because on the plane, about 63 Canadians were killed, and it was, I think the final destination, as mentioned, was to Canada. The plane was destined to Canada. Um, Unfortunately, many families are affected across Canada and the GTA and Edmonton and other cities in Canada are affected by this unfortunate circumstance. Many questions are being raised at this time. Why did they not close down the airport? That's the first question that came into my mind um, when the plane crashed. Is why are planes flying in in Iran, knowing that they're sending missiles to Iraq? They were just a few hours before they were bombarding the embassy, or not the embassy, but the air bases that held U.S. soldiers in Iraq from Iran. So why did they not shut down the airport? Why are they allowing planes to fly? That's the main question I had was whose judgment was who took this decision to fly the airplanes? Why didn't the Iranian officials shut down the shut down the airport at that time? I know many foreigners were leaving because of the situation and knowingly that the situation is going to escalate, but now you're involving missiles or surface to air to air, plane strikes, etc. That may be going into that direction. So definitely operating an airport where planes are flying, something's gonna go wrong. My second question was, as this incident started to portray, like I was pretty much the first, I would say, one of the first YouTubers, I guess, as other people were mentioning, to report on this incident within a few minutes that the news came out that night. If I wanted to look here, we can look and see that in there's a website here called 1001crash.com. You can look up the different crash sites in Iran since the year 2000. Now, if you go to Wikipedia, you can find more earlier dates. But my second commentary was when I heard of the news and I went on YouTube Live, I noticed that all of these prior, like to this incident now with Ukraine Airlines, all of these planes are Iranian airliners. There's nothing that is European. So all of the crashes that were happening in Iran prior to this last incident on January 8th, all of these airliners were Iranian. So in 2019, Saha Air, it's a Boeing 707. February 2018, Iran Aceman Airline. August 2014, Sepahan Airlines. January 2011, Iran Air. And then the list keeps going on and on. They're all Iranian based airlines or Air Force, Iranian Air Force base. So um, it's very that caught my attention because at the initial the statements we were not, no one was sure how this plane fell. Everyone had the idea that probably it was shot down, but most likely um, they're saying it's a surface to air missiles, two surface to air Russian missiles that hit the plane. Could have been unintentional. Most likely the plane um, probably got some notification from the airport uh, that it should return because of the airstrikes that have been going on. And as it was returning, maybe these surface to air missiles were like laser guided. Are they, um, you know, are the type of missiles that if they're in the air, they need to strike. They need to strike the closest moving object. Are the heat directed, or the what type of how are they being directed? Could they have been deterred by the group that launched these missiles? No one really knows at this point. There has to be an investigation now. The Iranian authorities have declared that this is not the case, that there's a technical problem. They haven't admitted that the missiles were the source of the the destruction of the airplane. At the same time, they refused to send the black box to Boeing, and they're asking that they're giving some permission to UN investigators to come in, also Canadian investigators to come in and take a look at the site. Now, some sources are saying that the site has been already completely demolished with bulldozers and anything to represent what actually happened at the first minutes of the accident or the plane crash would have been completely changed and almost impossible now to determine what exactly happened. It'd be interesting to know. Again, it could be unintentional. And my question is, who's at fault at this point? Like why? Even the airliner, Ukraine Ukraine International Airlines, I think they should have had somewhat due diligence in knowing that there's a potential war going to break out, and there's missiles being launched from Iran to Iraq. Although they may have been in the they may have been on the southwestern area or more western Iran. Um, Still, that would bring up a heightened alarm that they should shut down the airport. Um, I don't know, maybe they took a chance that they wanted to get out of the country, as everyone now is leaving the country. All Europeans and Canadians are asked to leave at this point, but in any case, it's a sad moment. Our prayers go out to the families that are affected. We pray for them that their souls are rested in peace, and the families that have lost loved ones, they will find compassion and love from the people around them, from the fellow Canadians and Iranian Canadians, that they find comfort in this difficult time. It's very, very difficult to lose a loved one. I've lost many loved ones in the past, and it's very, very challenging to go through that experience. So our heart goes out to all Iranian, all Canadians, all the families that have been affected by this airplane crash, and may the truth come out, knowing exactly what happened here, and um, let that be revealed to the public. And the speculations from world leaders, let's just wait till the investigation of true, clean investigation of what happened. Now, on the other hand, at this time, you see the House Democrats are trying to limit Trump's power in going to war if needed. Well, not needed if needed, but without a congressional vote in the House, by the Senate, by the House in the U.S. So this is very ridiculous in my opinion. If a country is landing bombs or potentially going to attack you, let's say, and if you're not, doesn't have to be Iran, any other country. So what is Trump going to do? Is he going to stay quiet? Like, is he going to just hang there and wait for them to vote? So why didn't they have these issues when they invaded Syria and did the civil war in Syria? Why didn't they have these issues when they went to Libya and took out Muammar Gaddafi, a UN recognized leader for a UN recognized country, um, and participant in United Nations? They just took him out in 30 days. They voted and did all the votes in the Congress, and they went to war with the Libyan government, took him out of power, and now look at Libya's in chaos. No one's mentioning now that Turkish forces are heading, if not there yet, to instigate some strikes against rebel forces in Libya. So Turkey is active, not necessarily in the spotlight now with the Iranian Iraqi situation in the U.S., but they are definitely active in Libya. On another note, Israel has hit Iranian forces or Iranian-backed militias in Iraq. So now Israel is on track to um, hit locations in Iraq, not necessarily the U.S. because of the situation. I would say this plane crash now, and I mentioned this in the live video that I made when the plane crashed. I said that the United States is not going to retaliate with force in Iran at this moment because, first of all, civilians have passed away. The plane crash is fresh. There's 170 on board. If the U.S. does attack now, it's going to make Trump look very bad, and like as if he's the aggressor. Even now, I think he did a very good move in stepping away and not attacking Iran at this moment, because if he did, you're going to see a upheaval in the U.S. and in Europe against him, because now he's being blamed for the plane crash. So, when in doubt, blame Trump for everything and anything that goes wrong. That's the motto now that you hear in the media, and you have people going in with shirts saying, "Oh, let's fight climate change and have no war." Of course, who wants to go to war? Who wants to send their soldiers to go and die? Like, no one wants to go to war. But at the same time, you can't stay quiet if situations in the region are becoming more and more unstable. Um, and you have legitimate, UN recognized governments feeling their nations are being insecured by militia groups, um, and U.S. allies in the Middle East, and people say, okay, let the Middle East just go, burn to hell, let them deal with their own problems. Well, the problems they have there, sooner or later, they're going to come and trickle your way here. So when you have problems with terrorism or militias or with the factions that are trying to overtake UN recognized and worldwide recognized governments, although no matter these governments, unfortunately, most of them in the Middle East there's no freedom of speech. There is definitely constitutions. They have constitutions established in their countries. Most of them seem good, but just a lot of it is not being implemented. Um, so a lot of these people think that, okay, let them just deal with their own problem. But sooner or later, these ideologies and militias, once they get into power, you've seen the result. Then you have these things coming your way. Um, could have all of this have been avoided? I would say I don't. Sometimes there's things that are unavoidable. In life, you try to avoid. You try your best through diplomacy, through negotiations. But when you look at how things are going and how things are going in terms of the issues in the Middle East with the previous administration, there is almost like giving people like a sucker or a lollipop. just letting them to stay quiet for a while, and then once that the money is gone, or once the support is gone, they want more. Um, so it's hard when when you have that kind of situations. Like look at it in your workplace, right? If you're out of a job and you just see something going wrong with how things are being run or being audited financially, um, and then you look at no action is taken. So sooner or later, the people that are keep on doing these wrong things. For example, if there's something with the financial aspect, or if there's any sort of culture that is being um, promoted in that specific situation, and no one is really taking action in rectifying the problem, sooner or later those people will get used to this scenario over and over and over, and then when it comes time for change, it's really hard for those people to change, because they've been so much in that in atmosphere and environment. So let's say you're in an environment of slacking off. A lot of workplaces struggle with that, with people slacking off, pretending to do work, or do very little work and little gets done. And then and usually it'll be like a mismanagement issue, but when management comes to change, and these people have really tough time to cope with getting things done properly. And that's how I look at the United States, how it was been going on the last since 2008. Even like all know the issues with 2001, and then when Bush was elected, and the wars that Bush got us into. But from there and onward, like onward to the Obama administration, they've been just trying to mediate issues, not necessarily always with diplomacy. Diplomacy, as we saw in Libya, they got Gaddafi out in 30 days. Look at all the archives. They went in, they supported rebel movements, they took away a United Nations elected, appointed leader, although he is corrupted, etc. Yes, corruption is all over the Middle East. It's even here. You can see it now in America with a lot of the corruption scandals going on with the Democrats and even Republicans and all the deep state and all that stuff. So it took out an elected government. They went into Syria, created a civil war, although the Syrian regime was also trying to influence itself mostly into its neighbor, into Lebanon, a smaller country, and also very unstable, weak country. But to go in and cause a civil war, and take sides, Russia's involved, Iran's involved, all these soldiers, Turkey's involved, come into Syria. And what would you want? Like, what would you choose? Elected, I wouldn't say necessarily elected by the people, but at least there's a constitution, at least there's some system going on. But again, people who needed freedom, needed change, and so this, in some cases they were going in and taking out these countries. In other cases, like Iran, with other situations, North Korea, they were trying to like give money. Just that's what they've been doing. They just, and if they had issues, they just started to give money, and lots of it, and they're giving jobs. Closing manufacturing, sending it over to China, IT jobs, India, just doing all these things to please other countries. And then while the United States is drowning, and the surveillance is heightening, so the surveillance state is growing. So it's definitely something interesting to see that this is going on, that they're trying to limit Trump's power now to go to war with Iran, which again, no one really wants war. And he stated that, his administration has stated that they don't want to go to war, they don't want to change the regime, but they want to see some change in behavior. So what does that change in behavior mean? It means stop supporting militias in the Middle East. So it's a bit of catch 22, right? Like, you're damned if you don't, you're damned if you do, right? So if Trump didn't act, and let's say what they're saying is true, that this leader was trying to, this general was trying to initiate attacks on other U.S. interests in the region, then if that happened, they would say Trump is not doing his job. Trump is not able to protect the American people, and they're trying to, now the Democrats are politicizing this issue. They're trying to make it in a way that they're going to try to create more dirt out of nothing. Just not, I don't say out of nothing. They just want to create more dirt and get that ready. So when the situation settles down next week or so, now they're going to say Trump's a war criminal. Trump's a mongrel. We're going to try to impeach him. Have a second impeachment. If this one we know is going to fail, right? Like it's already failed in the Senate, but now we want to try to create more. Now there's it's interesting that the Iranian leader, the prime minister, came out and started saying that Trump was threatening him threatening him to um, bomb the protesters, and he was threatening him to even kill him. So it was crazy news that I'm reading here, but you can see how they're trying to create as much obstruction for this person as possible, even when he's trying to, for the best interest of his country, to prevent or to de-escalate in what would otherwise what would otherwise create a war with other countries. So as we know, Iran is creating that sort of strong presence in the Middle East. So what eventually Israel is going to have to react. Eventually, Saudi Arabia is going to have to react, and both of them probably don't really want to get involved into an all-scale war with Iran. And in the Middle East, it's going to wreak havoc and create chaos. So this happened, and we'll see. What's going to happen in the next week or so. Is this going to actually be de-escalation? Will the Canadian investigators go to Iran and actually get some new information, exactly what happened? Was it actually a mistake? What do you guys think? Leave in the comments below, and let me know what you think. Do you think that this was actually a mistake that the plane was shot down, or do you think it was done on purpose to sort of prevent the United States from retaliating? Because if they didn't, let's say this plane didn't fall, I would suspect that after shooting, even though there was no casualties on the American side, there must be some sort of retaliation. But as this plane crashed, civilians died. Trump, it would look bad, very bad on their administration, U.S. administration, if they launched airstrikes after this airplane crash, the Ukrainian airplane crash. So let me know what you guys think. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to grow this channel further, trying to bring out a video every day or every other day, just to talk more about the news and my insight into the Middle Eastern politics and other countries as well, and other types of videos about nutrition, health, spirituality, God, religion. So I go into those as well in some of my videos, also about physical health, nutrition, diet, and ailments. So thank you for visiting this channel, and please subscribe. Thanks a lot. Take care. God bless.